Hey everybody, my name's Ed Travers. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of Christchurch-shelburne that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. The other day, somebody told me that they hope I find the real Jesus because I believe in a Wimpy Jesus. Now at first, I was annoyed by that. I was annoyed by them saying, I believe in a Wimpy Jesus. And as I explored that, I realized that I was falling into this stupid playground crap of my dad can beat up your dad. My God's bigger than your God. My Jesus can kick your Jesus around. I realized that I was playing a game that 6-year-old boys used to play when I was a kid. Comparing our manliness. I realized I don't want to do that. I don't want to play those games. I want to be bigger than that. I don't want to fall into a trap where I'm trying to prove to somebody that my Jesus is strong, that my Jesus is a manly man, that my Jesus could throw down with anybody and spit teeth afterwards. Come on, what is that? So, in this reflection, let's talk about the kind of man that Jesus was. We're not going to put a label on him. I'm not going to put a label on him, I hope. But I do want to talk about what kind of man he was. Because oftentimes we do see the Jesus of love, of compassion, a Jesus of wisdom, a Jesus who responds to a moment rather than reacts. We see an emotionally healthy Jesus, an emotionally vibrant Jesus. We see a man who's in touch with his feelings. He's willing to cry. He's willing to pray aloud and beg. He's willing to hold his tongue. He's willing to allow himself to be accused of things that he's never done and pay the price for it. He's willing to sacrifice himself without lament, without regret, without complaint. He doesn't try to start a fight, but he doesn't avoid them either. And when physical confrontation comes his way, he walks past. But we also see a Jesus that stirs some stuff. We see a Jesus that throws tables around. He makes a whip out of rods and swings them at people. We see a Jesus that kills a fig tree because it doesn't have fruit. So we get this whole image of Jesus as a man. We get all shades, all aspects of him. To me, this is what makes him so human. It's what makes him so relatable. He's in touch with his masculine side. Absolutely aware of his masculine side. He's also in touch with his feminine side. He is creative. And he is forceful. He is loving, nurturing. But he also asks those that he teaches to take care of themselves and teaches them to do so. He doesn't hover over his disciples, but rather sends them out from time to time on their own, in their own ministry. He offers instruction, but he allows people to make their own decision. When he could fight and argue, sometimes he just draws pictures in the sand. I don't know what the person means by Wimpy Jesus. I don't know what a manly Jesus would look like. Perhaps they're thinking of the Jesus from Revelation that will come down through the clouds, swinging a sword and taking down every enemy. But that's not the fullness of his character. That's not what he's about. That's a part of him. That's a part of his story. It could very well be a part of his future. But it is not the fullness of his character. A man shouldn't be judged based on one thing, one characteristic, but on all that he is. A woman should not be judged on one characteristic, but rather on the entirety of her person. A person should not be judged based on one of their characteristics, but rather the entirety of who they are, the fullness of who they are. If the Jesus I believe in, the Jesus of love, strength, compassion, mercy, the Jesus of call, the Jesus of mission, the Jesus of adventure, of creation, if that Jesus is Wimpy Jesus, okay, I wholeheartedly love Wimpy Jesus. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that your faith is based on the entirety of Jesus' person. Because the surest path to disappointment and disillusionment is basing your faith on one characteristic, regardless of which characteristic it is. Amen.